everyone. This is a tarot reading for the new moon that occurred a few days ago in Aries. This is just a general reading for the entire planet. The energy that is being portrayed right now. Okay. Just gonna put the energy into the deck. Righty. So, what we have here, and I usually just draw 5 cards to begin with, and that's what I did, but oftentimes there's cards that want to come out of the deck, and I just figured I would draw the entire reading or most of it before I started doing it, so I could get a better glimpse of what is occurring. And the first card I want to talk about is the Foolish Man, or the Spirit of Ether. And this card is the first card of the major arcana, which can represent new beginnings. You know, it is spring. It does represent a new path being taken. But this card represents idea, thought, sensitivity, the flesh, eternal life, initiative, spirituality, folly, and foolishness. I think that the world right now is in the beginning stages of being able to proceed with matters that are not to be taken lightly. There's a lot of intense things happening in the world right now. A lot of people are being set off by such things, you know, the Panama Papers and all of the major catastrophes that are occurring as the world is awakening to a new way of doing things. It's sort of a good sign in a way, that it means that we can sort of move forward with things and not feel stuck in that sense. But on top of that card is the Ten of Cups, or the Lord of Perfected Success. This is Mars in Pisces. Ten of Cups. Permanent and lasting success, kindness, generosity, happiness inspired from above, pleasure, home, and abode, etc., etc. There's a lot of other cards in this reading that have to deal with success, and I feel like this is sort of what is challenging us at this time. But it's a good challenge, because it's allowing us to I can explain it more, but in a little bit. But what this challenge is providing for us is the needed motivation in order to move forward. And this card in the middle here was upside down, which means illy dignified, and it is the Six of Pentacles, or the Lord of Material Success. This is the moon in Taurus, and the moon was in Taurus just a couple of days ago, and this has to do with personal possessions, etc., etc. This could do with the world's finances. Insinuating that it's a little bit topsy-turvy right now, with everything going on in the economic world. Lots of people being exposed for fraud and laundering money, etc., etc. This could mean an upheaval of the economic system in some way. It's ill-dignified. Ill-dignified meanings are maybe purse-proud, insolent from success, and prodigal. Like I said, I have a feeling it's having to do with the way that we look at possessions and our personal belongings and things like that, which include money very much so. Taurus is a very protective sign. But when things go awry with Taurus, lots of things having to do with survival have to come into play. Anyways, so I'm gonna look over here, and the card under here is the Eight of Cups, or the Lord of Abandoned Success. This is Saturn and Pisces. There's quite a bit of Pisces going on, or a little bit. The Ten of Cups over here too. I'm gonna read this one as well. Eight of Cups. Temporary success, but without further result. Things thrown aside as soon as gained. Nothing of lasting value. Indolence and success. Searching for riches and instability. Very interesting. Searching for riches and instability. And the Six of Swords on top of that is Mercury in Aquarius. This is Lord of Earned Success. So, lots of things to do with success in this reading. Six of Swords. Beauty, conceit, but sometimes modesty therein, dominion, and labor. Six of Swords. Well, Mercury has to do with communication, and so does Aquarius in quite a lot of respects. And through dealing with that communication, really learning to come together, and there's also some I think it's talking about the way that we do our current system is not very apropos to having a functioning society. Aquarius has to do with partly the way society functions, and the communication aspect is slightly missing at this point, and that it may take this jolt in our society, with everything that's happening right now, to be able to comprehend what it is that we need to do in order to change the system, in order to upheave the current structure that is going on right now, and create a new structure for our society to evolve within. Now this card down here is the Seven of Cups, which is the Lord of Illusory Success, or Venus in Scorpio. This is where we find certain aspects about ourselves that are it's sort of like a prison. You know, you feel like you're being successful, but you're in a prison of your own design, That's what I kind of feel like we've done here in this country and in the world in general, in the current system that we're in is highly vulnerable to being you can get easily trapped in the system, and it suggests that illusory success, fantasy, deception at the moment of apparent victory, wishful thinking, lying error, promises unfulfilled, drunkenness, violence against women, selfish dissipation, deception in love and friendship, success often gained but not followed up. And so this part down here is kind of our obstacle, is what we need to get past, and usually there's a card to go along that represents the negative aspect of each of these directions and the positive aspects. The other two cards down here are the Two of Pentacles, which is Jupiter in Capricorn, or the Lord of Harmonious Change. Interesting. The other card is the Two of Cups, which is Venus in Cancer, or the Lord of Love. And this being our obstacle, the Two of Pentacles, the harmony of change, alteration of gain and loss, weakness and strength, ever-varying occupation and wandering, discontent with fixed condition of things, alternating elation and melancholy, industrious yet unreliable, fortunate through prudence of management, yet sometimes unaccountably foolish, alternatively talkative and suspicious, kind yet wavering and inconsistent, also argumentative. And the Two of Cups represents harmony, pleasure, mirth, love, friendship, and passion. I feel like, the greediness of our world has kind of disconnected us from the real essential nature of things, and that disconnection is the catalyst for our own degradation. And not saying that it's wrong, just saying that because of all of this manipulation and everything that we've experienced, and Scorpio can have to do with manipulating people, the manipulation that we've experienced has led us to believe that we are insignificant and that we've been deprived of our need to feel connected to things and to feel like we're a part of something. It to me, it's this represents, that eventually the times are coming to a head where we are will be able to turn the tables, so to say. That we will be able to take back control in a way that is it may not be easy, but we are coming closer to the pinnacle of this especially America is coming to like the pinnacle of capitalism and the pinnacle of this whole way of life, and there's only so many things that we can do to try and save it, and it's kind of in our hands to be able to make that direct change. But I think a lot of people are lost, and they're not feeling like they are a part of this amalgamation of people who are really inducing the change. Princess of Pentacles. There's another card that is in the middle here. This card represents she is generous, kind, diligent, deep concentration, benevolent, careful, courageous, persevering, and pitiful. If ill-dignified, wasteful, prodigal, dissipation of ideas, and failure to recognize facts. In some regard, I feel, it is a little bit ill-dignified with the other card here being turned upside down. But I also feel like that some of our insecurities and some of our I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but Princess of Pentacles. While our concerns are totally valid, is that we need to persevere through this time, and it is a very testing time, but I feel like there's a lot of momentum towards renewing this planet and to be able to make it a better world to live in. That being said, this top card here, Temperance, or Daughter of the Reconcilers. This card is pretty intense. It has to do with alchemy and the alchemical process and how everything that goes into it in order to create a new sort of perspective or view of the world, and a lot of great change can come from this amalgamation of forces. We got Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn on there. I'll read the description for this card as well. There's a lot happening here. Temperance. Angel of occult wisdom, wears a crown of gold and pours water from the cup of white gluten into the cauldron. The fire burns along the water, and the water extinguishes the fire. Thus, fire and water mix harmoniously, rendered effective by the slow circulation of air created by the slowly flapping wings of the birds. To the left and right of the vessel are the triangular symbols for water and fire respectively. In the upper background, a volcano erupts and its ashes form a rainbow extending toward Earth. Interesting. The leopard-faced cauldron is symbolic of fire. The marriage of fire and water is held by the power of Saturn and concentrated by Mars. Realization, combination of forces, temperance, and moderation. So, interesting that it talks about volcanoes and things like that. Because Aries also represents volcanoes. The sun is in Aries right now, so I think that there's just a lot of all of this craziness that we've been experiencing over the past several months is finally like coming together, and it's finally like coming to the boiling point where we need to do something about everything that's going on in the world, and that all of this churning is becoming so profound, you know, like look at everything that's going on in the world, all the protesting and all of the rioting and everything is just, it's crazy, it's nuts. And this, you know, as Terence McKenna said, the world's gonna get nuttier and nuttier. It's gonna come to that pinnacle or apex, which it is right now, and it will slope off, but eventually. But there's no real telling of what's gonna happen. There's no real way of knowing. But all we know is that it's in our hands, and you know, I feel like that's what this card sort of wants us to take from this reading. It's the Chariot, or the Lord of the Triumph of Light. And what the Chariot represents is sort of, you know, taking life into our own hands, and being able to balance these forces. Triumph, victory, perseverance, health, success, though temporary. But generally this card in other decks has a white horse and a black horse. On this card it has two sphinxes. You know, essentially balancing the forces of good and evil and within ourselves, so that we are able to more withstand our outer environment, and being able to hold our own ground, so to say. And the other cards signify this too. Nine of Wands, which is the Lord of Great Strength. This is also the Sun in Sagittarius. Tremendous power, unshakable force, Herculean strength, Hercules, great success, but with strife and energy, victory preceded by apprehension and fear, health, good recovery, fond of external experience, and intractable. I feel, well, there's obviously a lot of great strength in this card, but that kind of gives me a lot of hope, that Sagittarius is very much about moving forward and seeking the truth in matters that are where justice sort of needs to be served or light needs to be shed on certain matters in order so that the truth can be withheld, or not withheld, but to be, realized, to be noticeable as the truth instead of a buffet of lies that are being fed to us every day. And Sagittarius is not one to take things lightly either. It's a very sort of serious matter, but they do take things lightly. But when it comes down to brass tacks, Sagittarius can be very sort of diplomatic in a way, but and sometimes can overstep its boundaries a little bit. But Sagittarius is about exploring these boundaries and what lies beyond our own perception in a way. The Emperor. This is the fourth card in the Major Arcana, or Son of the Morning. And this is ruled by Aries. This doesn't surprise me because the sun is in Aries. I'm going to actually read this one too. Beneath the Emperor's left foot is a bee, the alchemical equivalent of the ram. Two wild Himalayan ram's heads, one at the upper left and other center right, relate to the sign of Aries, which appears at the right. The eagle and the flay combine to suggest a conqueror and the idea of authority. Supernatural powers are suggested at the top of the card by celestial bodies that personify power and also sudden, violent, and impermanent activity. The orb surmounted by a Greek cross at the lower left signifies that energy has reached a successful end and that the government and or governmental rule has been firmly established. Interesting. War, conquest, victory, strife, ambition, and worldly power. I feel like this is representing sort of the strength of the people, but also the strength of the of opposing forces of the government, and that this power, even though it has been established, is it's very unstable, and it's sort of anything could happen at any moment, and everything could crumble, and there would be nothing we could do about it in that sense. But it's not a bad thing. It just means that there could be involuntary change in the near future that we may have to deal with things that are out of the ordinary, which is a good thing. Shakes things up a little bit. I'm gonna draw one more card, or maybe a couple more, finish up the reading. Interesting. So, I think the last card for the reading is the Ace of Pentacles, or the Lord of the Root of the Powers of Earth. This is going to go at the top here. So the Ace of Pentacles Materiality in all senses good and evil, and innocence illusory. Material gain, labor, power, wealth, perfection, and attainment. So I feel like this sort of has to cue in to all of the cards about success in the reading, in that when we claim our own right to be here on this planet and our own power that emanates from our own being, is that when we take things into our own hands and become connected with that other with the essential nature of the world around us, despite everything that's happening in the world, is that we can truly be at peace with whatever is going to happen, because there's a lot of things that could go on in the world right now that would shake things up. I actually feel like that card's supposed to be in the reading. Definitely feel like it. So, anyways, yeah, I mean, I would just say, to take things a day at a time. There's only so much you can do every day, and that earned success is only accomplished by being able to accomplish tasks one by one, and if we each do those tasks in our own life in order to, we can collaborate with each other, obviously, and that's a good thing, but there's also a lot of things that we can do by ourselves or instigate on our own to start making the world a better place and to start accomplishing those tasks in a really sort of determined manner, and not to let these opposing forces get us down, but to fuel us and to give us some hope, because we can hide in that despair all we want to, but we're not going to get anything done. We're not going to, we're not going to find what it is we're looking for, which is each other, I feel, we're not going to get anywhere on this planet until we can learn to come together and to learn to admit our own mistakes and to also not just rely on ourselves, there's a lot of different levels to it, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed the reading. Just keep doing what you're doing, and if you would like a personal reading, just let me know. Just send me an email. I'll have the website link below, as well as my email address, so just shoot me an email, and I would love to talk with you and figure out what's going on in your personal life and try and help you. Right, well, that's all I have for today. leave a comment or, subscribe if you want. And I will see you guys later.